Hello, world. Hello, PDX. Hello, Portland. Hello, people in Portland. This is Jared with This is PDX, and thanks for joining me on another episode 3. So we're making some headway, which is pretty cool. I've got some things for you. We're going to talk about some Google Map stuff as far as photography goes. And then I've got a guest. Isaias is here with us today, and he'll be on here in a little bit. But he's a photographer, and he has something to do with Google Maps, and this is pdx.or, which is on Instagram, that collaborative office that I'm helping with. And then there's a really cool thing that came out in the news, and there's a Portland survey was done, and it's pretty awesome. So we're going to talk about the Portland survey, and it's actually the chicken or the egg news article from the Willamette Week. And I apologize if I butcher the name, but credit needs to be where credit is due. Eliza Aronson covers everything from local politics to over-the-hill rock bands. She does work, or at least did an article for the Willamette Week, which talked about the chicken or the egg, and 1,114 Portland residents that were surveyed. And that was between May 17 and June 18, so that was this year. And the Oregon Values Benefit Center, they asked 1,114 residents. The survey asked how Portlanders felt about the quality of services the city provided and the performance of the city council, which most people know, or hopefully most people know, that the city council is going from 4 to 11 city council members. So the survey was really asking two main questions. One of the questions was, do you think that Portland is off on the wrong track, or is it moving in the right direction? So that's an interesting question, because where it's leading, a lot of the data at least shows that if you come to downtown Portland, you're more likely to answer that Portland's going in a good direction. And if you go towards the side of saying that it's not going in a good direction, the data shows that those are the people that are not visiting downtown. So it's really interesting. People who say they never visited downtown also were much more likely to answer that they believed the city was on the wrong track and getting worse. Only 5% of the people who never visit downtown say they thought Portland was moving in the right direction, compared to 34% of the people who visited downtown almost every day who think that the city is moving in the right direction. So there is a relationship between how often people are going downtown and how they feel about the city's direction, and how they feel whether things are improving or getting worse. I'll say that, I'm downtown most days, and I can tell you from my perspective that it's getting better. I can go to Beaverton or any town in the surrounding area, and I can find some of the same issues. So in my opinion, yeah, downtown is getting better. the trash is being picked up. The homeless crisis doesn't seem to be as bad. These are all things that, when people don't come downtown, it makes me wonder, are they getting their information that they believe that it's not as good or not going in the right direction? Are they getting that from social media and the talking heads and people that are showing all of the bad stuff all the time? So yeah, there's a little bit of the chicken or the egg situation here. Do people that never go downtown think that things are on the wrong track? And they're getting a lot worse? Is that because they never go downtown? Or do you never go downtown because they believe those things? So, the classic chicken or the egg type thing. I just think it's interesting where we're at, because what informs our decisions is what we read, who we listen to. Maybe we should just go downtown and experience it for ourselves. So that was really interesting. I really felt like everybody that listens to this podcast should maybe think about those things. And what we're doing here with This Is PDX is something that is really trying to affect that perspective. We want to give people a reason to come downtown. We want to show the good stuff. We want to be able to be positive and show the good things that are happening and feature good people and businesses and organizations and that type of thing. So who I have here today as a guest, maybe Isaias can tell me a little bit about what his opinion is on this little Portland survey. Welcome, Isaias. Thanks for coming.
What up?
I don't know. This is an interesting one because I know when I first met you, this kind of speaks into how we met and why we're doing what we're doing. We're here on the 11th floor of the Union Bank Tower, and when I first saw you, you were the awesome guy that was taking pictures out the window, and the big pink building is pretty majestic out one of the windows here. And we started talking about how do creatives help Portland, and we want to be proud of Portland and the place that we live in, and how do we drive traffic down here, because it's, it went through a pretty dry spell where businesses were moving out and there's nothing to do here. At least that was what I thought before I started purposely coming to downtown. What part of town do you live in?
I'm on the northeast side, the other side of the river.
Okay, northeast side. And what do you think? Do you think that survey is pretty accurate as far as you've lived pretty close to the core of downtown for quite a while? So for you kind of fit into that category of maybe you feel things are getting better. I don't know. You tell me. How do you feel things are going with Portland?
I wouldn't exactly say that they've been on the decline. I've always viewed Portland the same, kind of no matter what's been going on. But maybe I have a different visual or a vision than your typical Portlander, because I tend to see things on a positive light at all times.
Yeah, which is what I like about you. But what I also like about you, just a little nugget for the listeners, is you're one of these guys that I like to have around, because you may not say a huge amount of stuff just for the sake of saying it. you kind of, when you speak, it's because it's important. And I like that about you because it gives a different perspective on things, and having your energy around really helps the group that we interact with. So I really appreciate that. I don't know. I think from a standpoint of what we do here in downtown Portland and how we're trying to help Portland, I invite people to just come downtown, do a little Google search, see if there's something going on, get on Meetup, see if there's something going on downtown, and just be purposeful with coming down here. And I can almost guarantee you that it's not as bad as the national media makes it out to be. It's actually a pretty cool place with really cool people. And Isaias, you're one of those people that is in downtown, and you are a photographer. And when I first met you, you told me you were not on social media. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's been it took a pretty long break, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so that break, the only place you said to me is, well, I've got photos on Google Maps. And I guess before we even go there, can you tell me, I have a question for you. Like, everyone, at least that in my world, or at least for me, I remember one of the first times that I had a camera in my hand and I was taking a photo, and it was something about it was very important for my life and for who I am. I was able to tell a story with the photography that I was doing. And so I guess for you, can you share with me maybe some of your history? Like, do you remember the first time? Like, was a camera given to you, or did you play with like a camera that was a relative's? Or tell me about that. Like, take me back in time a little bit.
I think I've always used other people's cameras, and I was kind of fascinated with all the buttons behind them. And I thought to myself, one day I'm gonna figure out what all those buttons are. And up to this point, I need more buttons after reading up what they're about and how to use them. And I think at the end of the day, it's the more control I have over crafting an image, the better I feel it turns out.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we joke around a little bit here at This Is PDX because we call you the technician. And the technitional side of who you are is appreciated. We have a strobe lab here, which really all that means is we've got flashes and strobes and lighting and different things so that we can do product photography, and we can do headshots and all that. And seeing you operate in that environment with how you approach things is pretty cool. When, or do you know how old you were when you first bought, or maybe it was given to you and you had a camera that you called your own?
I believe it was in high school when I got my first camera, and I've been doing a lot of research about it because I've been using everyone else's cameras, and I enjoy displays, I enjoy optics, electronics, precision instruments. And I guess the first camera that I actually bought myself was the Nikon D90. It was a while back,
Yeah.
but I was enchanted by that thing, and I ended up buying it. And actually, I didn't even have the money for it. I put it on a Best Buy credit card for my mom, and should have seen the look in her eyes when they rung it up at the register.
So this is all your mom's fault.
Yeah, pretty much. So it was like a four digits up there, and I don't think she's ever seen four numbers on that.
Oh man, wow. That's awesome. I remember my first camera was like, I don't know. I think for like the weekend I borrowed. We'll just say I borrowed my parents' digital camera. I think it was like a 4 megapixel, and the battery was terrible. It didn't last very long, but it was a digital camera, which, before that was film and the disposable cameras. I would take the disposable camera, I'd turn it in at Costco, and they had their photo lab, and it'd take, I don't know, like a week. You had to wait 7 days, I think. Maybe it was 4 days. Then you can go back in and you thumb through like the big display that has all of the photos in it, and you just try and find your name. And but man, that all took forever. So then my parents got this digital camera. I don't even remember why they got it, but man, it was so cool because you could take as many photos as you want within reason. I think it had like a 30 megabyte memory card. it was hardly anything, and the memory card was huge. But yeah, it's times have changed. It's crazy how technology now allows us to, what is it, like 50 or 60 frames per second. I mean, you can just go crazy with how many, like to capture motion and all of that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So you got a D90. What do you use right now?
I'm using the Z6.
The Z6. Okay.
I always tend to be on the lower end because that's kind of what I can afford. But
Yeah.
I'm always optimistic about trying to break down these little barriers that kind of stop me from doing what I feel would improve what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a blessing and a curse because your journey into photography is never really over. It just keeps evolving.
Yeah, yeah. And Google Maps. How did you stumble onto that? Was that like by accident, or, by the way, everybody listening, like he has some photos of different Portland landmarks on Google Maps that are just spectacular. Bridges and buildings, like landmark type things. Yeah, so how did that, was that a dare?
No, I'm not exactly sure I remember how I fell into that. Everyone has a Google account pretty much if you have a phone.
Yeah.
And I started exploring the little tab on there. I guess I got a little profile. And since I like taking pictures, I've been trying to put up the best photos I can take of locations that I go to with the least amount of effort on my end.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, what's one of them that kind of stands out that is still, because anyone, I mean, honestly, anyone can put a photo up on Google Maps, but what is that allows a photograph to stay at the top? Does Google have some influence on that if they like it, or is that like the community at large votes and says, hey, that's the one because it got so many likes? I'm not, educate me on that a little bit.
That's something I want to learn too. I've been trying to figure out what keeps a photo in the front because I'm trying to put up photos of Portland to show the people the beauty of the city and hopefully have them come over to check that spot out. Like a bridge, for example. I think I kind of started with the bridges at first, trying to get the best shot of the bridge and put it up on Google Maps, and hopefully people look at it and want to come check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's the traffic or it's a reputational thing because trying to figure it out is kind of difficult, as some of the shots that I've uploaded went directly to the front with no views, so that kind of throws that part out the window.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Like you'll come into the office and you'll talk about some new people you've met or new things that you're doing. Like you've been taking some photos of plants at a garden, which is really interesting. Tell me about that a little bit more. It's a garden space that also has music. Is that correct?
They do little events every now and then, but I believe it's mainly to harvest seeds, but it's also a big community effort for sustaining growth.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of learning going on.
Interesting. Yeah, so that's giving you an opportunity to do that, and I'll just say for the audience, let's see some events that you've helped cover. We've got the Honk Festival that happens in Portland every year.
Oh, that was a hot one.
So that was everybody. Isaias took one for the team on that. I must say it was a really hot day. And how many bands?
I think it was like close to 20 bands.
20 bands.
It's close to 20, yeah.
One day, 3 stages, and this guy just knocked it out of the park. It was a pretty amazing uh, pretty amazing thing. He mapped it all out, and if you're ever go to thisispdx.or, you can see the Honk Festival slideshows that I produced on there that showcases Isaiah's work and how he captured the musicians and all of that. It just is spectacular. You also covered the bike race at Mount Tabor. That was really cool. There's some pretty awesome shots with that. And a little teaser for people. It got delayed a little bit because of this podcast, but now that we got some flow, there was a soapbox derby at Mount Tabor that you also got some photos of. So I'm excited to see those and get those in front of people. And yeah, man, you've been doing a lot of stuff. How does it feel?
The soapbox raise, that was amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that many people at Mount Tabor, like in my life from ever visiting it. I've seen like some pop-up little events that caught me off guard and by surprise, but this one, it was so crowded. There was a lot of people there checking it out. It's really nice to see.
So were there any epic like crashes or people going off the road? I mean why is it as a society we enjoy seeing failure?
I don't know. Maybe it makes us feel better about ourselves.
I don't know. It's a possibility. I mean, it's the soapbox cars that look epic and has like 2 or 3 people on it, and then they're going just a little bit too fast.
Yeah, well, that's what's kind of cool about it is that everyone that's in the race is in it for different reasons. Some people are there to win, and other people are there just to have fun or to show off their ride. So it's very interesting to see them all, because even the fast cars, you almost miss them.
Yeah. No, that's pretty awesome. So I'm excited to see that. Oh, I almost forgot. The Sidewalk Chalk Festival, that was in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the photos you took of that were pretty stellar. There was a couple juggling not necessarily acrobat, but jugglers there. One guy was on stilts.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids, a lot of people doing street sidewalk chalk. What was that like, just kind of being there to capture that? Was that, from an artist standpoint, was it cool to see the community come out for that?
You know, occasions like that, you almost forget to take pictures because you're taking it all in at once, and you're just at awe at seeing the community come together and create this event of unity, and just watching everyone color on the ground, from kids to adults. It's a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, and they some guy pulled up with, like, I don't know, what looked like 50 pizza boxes. So they, it was just a really cool little event that happened. So there's, when we talk about there's not a whole lot to do in Portland, maybe in retrospect, there's actually quite a bit going on in Portland. I think people just need to understand that it's safe here, that it's a good place to be, and that the people are pretty awesome. So, stretch your legs a little bit, get off the couch or whatever, and maybe try going downtown and see what you think. I don't know. What are your thoughts on all of that?
I would say look for a reason to come too. That's kind of what brought me here in the first place. A little more deeper downtown, as I'm always around the waterfront. I
Yeah.
saw that posting on Meetup about a creative gathering up here at the Union Bank Tower.
Yeah.
And since I'm shooting the city a lot, I figured a new vantage point of shooting the Big Pink, and this was kind of the mission that I had coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why I was sitting in the conference room, and you had your awesome tripod that I'm a little jealous of. Don't tell anyone. But then, like, you brought out this crazy lens, and I'm like, oh man, this guy means business. And that's coming from a street photographer who, yeah, I can appreciate all of that and what you were doing. And so being here at Ned Space and being part of the photo video creative collaboration room, this is PDX. Rumor has it you now have an LLC. So have we helped you with some stuff that, I mean, I think it's pretty cool to see the growth that's happened since you've been here, and how things have, opportunities and people that you've rubbed shoulders with, and through the growth that you've had here, out of that, there's a little company that you've been interacting with. I don't know. What do you think? The collaboration room, is it something that going into it, what were you thinking going in? Was it just like, hey, I've got some free time and we'll see what happens, or is it meeting your expectations? I guess I'm just a little curious. You and I have never really talked about that, but I'm wondering a little bit.
Well, what I like about it is that it keeps me on my toes and gives me other people's perspective on things, on how to approach them, and also get feedback on things you haven't done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I typically don't stick to one style of photography. I like to venture out in all directions, but I try to get good at each one of them at least.
Yeah.
So in there, we're able to collaborate.
Yeah, the collaboration, like, you do a lot of buildings and bridges and stuff, but you're also really good at portrait photography. And so it's neat to see what you've been doing there. And then there's a company, and I don't even know how this happened. Maybe it was just you being out and about and doing what you do with your camera. But you met with somebody who was doing something with like a QR code that's embedded into clothing, and then you're doing some photography with them. So that's really cool. I hope that maybe we can figure out how to incorporate some of that into helping Portland and you and what you do. So yeah, there's so much going on here that it's almost like I need 2 hours just to like unload everything sometimes. So yeah, you're the technician. Your mom funded your first camera. And a little side note here, we are going to start live casting the podcast from this little studio. And so that'll be really interesting. I'm hoping the next podcast will have that available. And so that'll be really, really cool. Is there anything from your perspective that Well, let me back up. We like to ask some questions when we're out on the street. And the first question is, you've chosen to live here in Portland, and this is a place that once you live here, at least for me, once you live here, if you move away, you tend to end up back in Portland. And did you grow up in Portland?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So what keeps you here? Is it just because this is what you know? Or is it, what is it? I know sometimes when times get tough, and we've all experienced some tough stuff going on in Portland over the last 3 to 4 or 5 years. What kept you here? How do you root for Portland? What keeps you here?
Well, I don't drive for one, but I don't think that's a factor.
Probably not. That's actually probably the safer route, and Portland has the infrastructure to get you where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have the electric skateboard. We're not going
Oh yeah,
to
that too.
really. We could talk about that, and maybe someday I will get an electric skateboard. But yeah, that would be really cool. So you get around and you know where to go. So that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How do you root for Portland?
I root for Portland by showing everyone the best side of it through my photography, and also the experiences of different kinds of events and gatherings. I support it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you being in this environment is a pretty cool thing for us. We appreciate you. The fact that you spend your money in downtown Portland, you like being a part of what we're doing. That's pretty special. Everybody listening, if you want to root for Portland, the best way you can do that is to adventure out and spend an afternoon or a day in downtown Portland. There's a little place called Pleasure Burger, fairly new. There's a lot of new things going on Broadway. There's this, between the coffee and the food and the music on the square, just come down and see what you can find. It's like $2.50 to hop on mass transit, and you're down here in a heartbeat, or from wherever you're at. So, yeah, pretty awesome. I do have another question. What do you like on your pizza?
On my pizza, huh? Gotta definitely have pepperoni. I know it's controversial, but I would say pineapple.
Oh, no. No, you didn't. Yeah, no.
And sriracha.
Oh.
There we go.
But is it sriracha ranch?
Sriracha ranch. I've been trying ranch lately with the pizza. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I like a little bit of that sriracha ranch. It's pretty cool. Oh man, pineapple. It's a love-hate relationship. I think for most people, either they love it or they hate it.
There's no in between.
Pineapple. Yeah, I haven't heard of anybody landing in the middle on that one. It's kind of like Miracle Whip or Mayo. It's like either you like one or the other. It's not like, whatever you want to put on that sandwich. No. It's like, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack, but it's Mayo. Oh, see, now I'm getting it all screwed up. It's Miracle Whip or nothing for me.
What even is Miracle Whip? Is that even mayo?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Huh?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. It's not mayo.
A sandwich isn't a sandwich without the zip-zingy taste of Miracle Whip.
All right, throw some pineapple in there.
Some pineapple in there. Oh, so today, again, thanks for hanging out with me. Everybody, check out Isaias Photography on Instagram. Please do that. He takes amazing photographs. He took a picture of a fly and it's a small picture. It's in a frame. It's in our office, and the detail of this fly is amazing. And then we put it up on the wall, and we call that the fly on the wall.
And it's constantly moving too. I always find it in the weirdest places.
Yes. Yep. So there's that. Yeah. I appreciate you being on the podcast. Some things we covered today. We covered the little bit of the Google Maps. If anyone wants to drop a note and let us know what the secret sauce is for figuring out what kind of like how do you get your photo to be at the top all the time? Maybe there's a phone call we can make and just say, hey, let Isaias be like the go-to, like someone in Google. So anyway, if anyone knows, that would be awesome.
I'd encourage people to upload too.
Yeah.
We can turn around the city, but it's going to take all of us. Put beautiful photos of the city all over Google Maps, just flood it all.
There you go.
I would say check out the Ross Island Bridge on Google Maps, and you'll see an example of one of my photos up there.
That's cool. Yeah, that was a good one. The big pink building, I mean, you did a good one of that one too.
Got the Markham Bridge. I think there's one up on the Motor Center as well, which that one has a lot of traffic of photo uploads, I'm pretty sure, especially during events.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we also touched on the Portland survey. So, yeah, check it out. If people are familiar with how to Google stuff, I mean, it's like second nature now. Willamette Week, that article, definitely check that out. Definitely, for me, it reinforces why I'm doing what I'm doing. We want to get people down here to experience it for themselves. And it's not as bad as you might think. So
it might be better than you think too.
Yeah, absolutely. So chicken or the egg, people, chicken or the egg. Where do we go from here? I think the sky's the limit, man. Like with Portland, I think it may sound a little cliche, but that old phoenix rising from the ashes. I think Portland's starting to position itself to where amazing things will happen. We've got the artist community that's starting to rise up a little bit more and do great things. We're going from 4 to 11 city council members. So hopefully, the people in Portland will have their voices heard a little bit through that structure. That's my hope. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm hoping we will go. What we're doing here at NetSpace with This Is PDX. Definitely check us out on the thisispdx.or on Instagram if you want to see positive content about Portland. Isaias Photography, 47 Knuckles on Instagram. It's actually, I hated when I had to do this, Isaias. On Instagram, I couldn't just do 47 Knuckles. I had to do 47_Knuckles because there was somebody that had 47 Knuckles, oddly, that never did anything with it. So it's just sitting there. But unless they retire, and by the way, Mr. 47 with no underscore, Knuckles, if you hear this podcast and you want to release,
you want your knuckles back,
the 47 Knuckles with no underscore, I mean, just drop me a message and we could figure that out. So yeah, it's 47_Knuckles. Yeah, check it out on this podcast if you want to. Go ahead and follow us, like us, leave a message. I love to hear from people that are listening, and just leave us your thoughts. Next week, there's a guy that is going to be a guest on the show, and his name is Ripley. And Ripley is really connected in the Portland area. I'm really, really excited about being able to talk with him and get his insights into the Portland scene, the art scene, the music scene, the man, the myth, the legend, Ripley. And he's gonna chuckle a little bit because I said that. But yeah, that'll be really cool. Next podcast, probably next week. And I think that's a wrap. I really appreciate you coming on and taking a part of This is PDX, the podcast. Any final words of wisdom from Mr. Isaias?
I would say everyone stay positive. We get through the hard times together. It makes it a lot easier. Like, what was that quote you gave me earlier about that?
Oh, man, that one, the quote, staying positive.
It was about things being easier doing them together.
Oh, yes. You know, life is easier when we do it together. It's totally true. I couldn't do any of this without Isaias, Ripley, others in the collab room. And I can't do this without everyone in Portland. Portland, you have an amazing rest of your day and amazing week. Later.